3 is the future.
Welcome, crew, to What Are Your Three, a Channel 3 podcast where we take a member of the Channel 3 community, discuss 3 games of their choosing, go through some honorable mentions and some other odds and ends for a nice little video game discussion. I'm Dan, and with me, as often as his growing family will allow him to be, and I say that with all due respect, is Ray.
What's going on? I'm supposed to say I'm back, right? By the order of these episodes? Am I back again?
You're back again. You could say that. Don't say it definitively because there's going to be one after this you're not on again, so it's okay.
I'm back again. I was off last time. Even though speaking into the future, I was off last time, but I'm here this time, whenever this time is, and we have with us jparton. jparton, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well. Glad to join you guys and hang out. And I'm glad that you made it. But I totally would have understood. Kids that come first. So
the best part is like trying to make sure people understand he's not abandoning anybody due to it's nothing personal. No offense, because what was supposed to be this week's guest is next week's guest, and that's flipped around. But like, he's not going to be on for that one either. And like, guess what? He may not make another one. It's going to be fine. Life will go on.
I'm confused. Was there not one recorded last night?
There was not one recorded last night. That one's being recorded tomorrow night now. So we're flipping some stuff.
I won't be there.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said. I won't be there. Future so won't be there.
So I'm in fact not back. Am I not back?
You're back.
Or am I? Am back.
So but don't say you're back for good. You're back for now.
This is crazy.
Time is wibbly wobbly timey wimey Doctor Who something. I don't know.
So like tomorrow's recording is gonna come out before this recording?
No, that's next week. No.
Oh, okay.
We flip. Okay. This one there's gonna be here. I'll fix. There's a different number.
So here it is.
He's time jumping.
Right. This is like Legend of Zelda stuff going on right here. Trying to figure out which timeline I'm on.
Save it for Final Fantasy VI.
I'm all over here. Dan, stop trying to jump ahead. I didn't even ask Jay how his gamer tag came about. And every time I say it's like, it must be super obvious. It never is. So where'd your gamer tag come from, Jay?
Well, so it's funny because I was like, it's super obvious, but it's basically it's my first initial, my last name, and the year of my birth. And I think the first game that I was playing that really had online stuff was probably FIFA, and it was back in like Xbox Live era, and they would like give you some whatever name, like they would just like Blue Octopus or something. Mm-hmm. And if you didn't have one, and I didn't love the one that they had. I can't remember what it was, but I was just trying to think, and it was just something kind of standard because I'm a person, I've thought about it like tattoos. Like I don't have any tattoos because it's hard for me to like want to commit to something like super like Dragon Master. Like, am I gonna like that when I'm 55?
That you never know what the dragon's gonna get busted for and end up in the news or taken down on Twitter for or something.
That's true. So so I just went with something standard. I have over the years, like at times, like thought like, should I do something different? Should I change? But yeah, in the end, it's just kind of stuck around, and I like it. It's clean, solid, and I do get called Patron a lot. People, like miss the R and the T, and they, like Patron. But other than that, it's worked well for me through the years. So I don't do a ton of online gaming other than the Rocket League, but
J Patron. All right, Dan, get into it with J Patron. That's awesome. That's amazing.
It's a new sponsorship he's got for his Rocket League play, but
right. Yeah.
Let's get into the games then. We're starting with game number 1 and talking about names getting weird. You properly brought it up as Final Fantasy VI, but we knew it at the time as Final Fantasy III. We didn't know
right
we didn't know what was happening. But Final Fantasy VI is how you're kicking this off, and I'll just say the real ones know. There's the Final Fantasy VII crowd. There's those of us in the minority, the Final Fantasy IX crowd. Then there's whatever, and then there's no. 6 is the real answer.
Yeah. And it's funny. Like I tried to see if I could pick Rocket League 3, but they've only made one, so I went with Final Fantasy 3 and
he killed my
Witcher
joke.
3.
I literally had that joke. Ray, what's point 1 under Game C?
On Game C. Oh yeah.
I don't pre-write a lot of jokes, but I pre-wrote that joke to be clear.
You said you were prepared for anything, so you'll adapt and move.
I'm still going to do it. It's going to be totally deadpan now.
That's all right. I got quite. I'll throw in Rocket League 2 somewhere just to really get you there.
But yeah, Final Fantasy 6, Final Fantasy 3, as I knew it, was it's been my favorite game of all time, basically since the first time I ever played it, and so it was an easy one. To when in terms of thinking of the three, the first two were super easy, Rocket League and Final Fantasy 6. So yeah, I'm not sure I can go into detail or where you want to go with it, but
yeah, I mean my first question is really going to be, I mean, how was this your first Final Fantasy? Had you been into RPGs before this? Was this like how did you end up here? Because this was not, now I think everybody has an idea of Final Fantasy games. That was not necessarily the case in the 90s. You had to know.
So I had played the original Final Fantasy, but not like I did not complete it. It was like a buddy had it on the NES, and I had played it a few times. I didn't really love it. And then Final Fantasy 2 I had played, or 4. I had played, but also yep, I hadn't completed. And so at the time, like, back when I was playing these games, a lot of them like were things that I would rent from the video store, right? Like I didn't own all of the video games. I had the system, and it was actually like at my mom's, so I would go over, parents were divorced, and I would go to my mom's and I would rent a video game for the weekend. And so the first time I ever rented, this game, it was just kind of like you pick one, and little did I know that, it was going to be something that became really important, relatively important in my life. And I remember just being so immersed in the game, and it felt like something like on a scale unlike anything I'd played before. And because I had to rent this game, I can't tell you the amount of times that I have played the like first half of the game many more times, because if you rent something and you play it, back then the saves were not on your Super Nintendo, they were on that game cartridge. And so when you would take it back the next time you had to play it over. And so it took a while to actually like complete the game. And I remember actually like a friend from school, and I like met up with him to borrow his copy of it. And I remember it feeling like a drug deal. Like he was, gonna like give me his copy, and we had to meet in this park like down the road from his house. I'm trying to remember all the reasons.
This is why the first time we've had a Final Fantasy drug deal. Yeah.
All right. I was gonna ask, what is with Final Fantasy? We're like sneak. We talked about it too, right? He snuck it in a backpack and had to trade for money.
Cite the Carl Waldron episode where he basically had a drug deal of a kid who
listening to the same
had to
story.
pick the game up for him, and
yeah.
Had it snuck in a backpack at school, and they had to change cash under the table and slip the game to him. Like it was a whole drug deal. And I'll answer I'll answer part of the question, Ray. Part of the question is that these were not games you could just go into the store and get. Like by the time Final Fantasy VII came, that game was everywhere. But also it depended on where you lived, if you're near a store, but it
Yeah.
wasn't like it's like the first Mega Man where people were like, no, but the first Mega Man was not in like every store available to say, here, this is the Mega Man, come take it. It was like a niche small game that only picked up retroactively. This was like nerds. This is like old school Star Trek, Star Wars. Like this is lower grade than those were, like nerd stuff. So you couldn't get this everywhere. And it was also, these games were at a premium too. Like you had to pay more. They were $70 before it was cool. Like, you know, there was complaining like, oh, games are $70. So we paid this back in the 90s. Shut up. I don't know if that was the case for you guys. Like, I mean, again, there's just something about these games because they were so rare. Like, you couldn't just buy your own copy. You had to like sell your soul to a friend to borrow Secret of Mana or borrow Final Fantasy 3 or whatever, you know?
And that's, you know, like I'm trying to remember, so I won't, you know, say that I remember for certain, but one, I knew that, like, you know, like I had two different, I mentioned the divorced parents, and so like I did different, you know, at my like dad's house, we didn't really play video games. Video games weren't a thing, so I had to take it to my mom's house, and so I think it was more for like him loaning out this probably, you know, $70 game back then was an expensive thing, and you know, as like I don't remember exactly, I'll say like 11 years old or whatever, you know, that's you know, it's like taking the keys to your dad's car or something, like something that's worth a lot of money, and
Because
trusting me to,
no one's probably
you know,
happy they spent $70 on it either. Like that's the thing. Like like you better not mess this up. Like to the kid who's like, we're spending what's like $200 now on a video game. I'm gonna kill you if you screw this up. So yeah, they were. They trusted you though.
And and it was a big trust thing, and you know, and that was the first time I was able to finally like play it long enough to beat it, and yeah, that was a great experience. And you know, over the years, get into more parts, but like you'll see lots of times where they compared JRPGs, and Final Fantasy 6, we'll just call it 6 for now, you know, is always up there. But over the years, like it seems to have like that and Chrono Trigger have like crossed paths. And when I was playing it, like I love Chrono Trigger as well, and it's like 1A to me. But over the years, it seems like those positions have like swapped, and all I can think is that like the Chrono Trigger tends to, because it was a big scale too, but it was a little more cartoony ish, you know, stuff that happened than like Final Fantasy 3 was it was like there was lots of funny things that happened, but it was a serious thing.
I remember the
you know,
hilarious parts of the chemical warfare and things like that.
Oh yeah. there was definitely some comical moments, and you know, the antagonist is, you know, on my like C3 profile. I asked like who's the best protagonist or the best like villain, and like Kefka by far was just great because he was funny but also crazy, and he actually like destroyed half the world. So
yeah, I don't even know where to go with this, because like also you had the like this and Chrono Trigger were intertwined. Like Chrono Trigger sprang forth from like there was too much for Final Fantasy 6, so Chrono Trigger became its own thing. Like all of the Apocalypse stuff like got broken off by with that to make Chrono Trigger, basically. Like there was too much for one game, so like, oh, we'll do this and that, and that's how so they're like intertwined, their stories effectively. Now I do have to jump back because there was something you said that like, so there's the Japanese game art for this game, which is this like steampunk industrial like mech robots. That wasn't what we got. We got a plain red cover that just said Final Fantasy 3 on it. Like, what about that in the video store said, let me, an 11-year-old, go get that game? Or was it just that Final Fantasy was there and like, let me see what's happened with this series?
Well, and I think, I'm trying to remember, but, you know, it was the cover was not enticing, but
Plain
the back
Jane.
of it,
Yeah.
I think was, and I'd have to look back to see what the back of it was, but the description sets the stage of like, and I don't remember if this was actually on the cartridge, but basically like magic has been dead for 1,000 years after this like super war that like destroyed all magic, and now it's coming back into like a world of machines and yeah, this whole steampunk thing, and um
Magitech
that
has been reborn, and the end of
that's
the world is
exciting.
near.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's fair. It's still like it's still pretty plain though. Like it is just I had to pull it up because I don't know if I've ever seen the back of that. I've only seen, like we didn't keep boxes back then. People, okay, you mostly only saw them if you knew someone was like a really anal collector, or if you were in a rental store and looked at the back of a box if they had it. But
Which
like
is
even
what
yeah. Even looking at it though now, I'm like, no, this is still like a pretty plain back of the box, unless you're like, okay, I'm actually going to read it. So that's it. Well done by 11-year-old you.
yeah. uh
That's no small feat. So I was going to ask, let me just ask this way. If we talked about the industrial vibes, what I was going to ask you is, do we need a prequel? I feel like this is ripe for a prequel, because there's stuff that's like referenced to wars 1,000 years before. There's like the War of the Magi, and there's stuff like this that's talked about, like when all this the mythical stuff is resurfacing in this industrial era. Like I kind of want to, if you wanted to, you could go back and do something there.
It's funny. I've heard many different takes on like ways to remake or ways to continue the story but I don't know that I've ever thought about like a prequel, and that might be a pretty cool game, because I'm not on really the bandwagon of wanting a remake of the game. I'm not, just personally, like the game is pretty perfect to me, and also like you're gonna change some things, but a prequel sounds pretty cool. I would be on board for a prequel.
Yeah, again, it would have a different vibe. It would have a different feel. But like, I have not talking about this. I'm like, I gotta pull this back up on the Pixel remasters. I need to go take another run at this. But yeah, don't remake it. Leave it where it's at. Don't, especially. I swear to God, Square, listen to me now. Square, I'm looking at you. Come here.
Yeah,
come here. I swear to God, if you action RPG this, I will burn your company to the ground.
I can't wait.
It would be, no, just don't do it.
If they make a prequel, they're going to actually Final Fantasy 6-3 Part 2. That'll be the name of it.
Yep. Dan, you got to be careful about talking about burning places down right now. So just.
Oh yeah, nope. Too topical. Whoops. That's. I will write a strongly worded letter to Square Enix about your decisions. We're gonna go ahead and. I'm too lazy to delete that, so we're just gonna go ahead and pretend I was making more of an Office Space joke and move on. Right, take over. I'm done. I got nothing. We just go. I'm done. I'm out.
Well, the second game on the list is Rocket League, which we haven't talked about Rocket League in a little bit. Just
is that the one in Fortnite? It's got its own section of Fortnite, Ray. I don't remember this one.
Well, it did, but Fortnite's kind of gotten rid of that section of it, so it's doing its own thing again. They had to
clear it out to make room for the Disney extraction shooter coming in the fall. Apparently,
I did see that. But Rocket League's here. They had an update recently. They changed a couple things. So what's Rocket League for you? Like long time playing, like really into it, come back once in a while. Like where's Rocket League for you?
So yeah, Rocket League for me. I got really into it when I was playing it, and I won't pretend that I'm as into it as I was then, but it had a large impact on my actual life. And I'll get to that story in a minute, but it was just a game. Originally, I downloaded Rocket League to play with my son, who was like, I'll say like 7-ish at the time, and I saw like, oh, there's this game where you drive around and like, with a car and you bounce this giant ball around. Like, maybe he'll be able to do it and like play, and we'll play around a little bit, and then I started playing it, and I was like, this game is actually pretty sweet. And so I started playing a little bit like online, which I'd almost never really played much online before then. I played a little bit of FIFA online before, but not too much. Um, and I was like, well, okay, I'm not very good at this, but I bet I can get better, and maybe I can like look up some YouTube videos. And so I like went to YouTube to like look up like, how to get better at Rocket League. And that's when I discovered that I was not the first person that had ever had that thought, because there was like 1,000 videos like immediately about, Rocket League and how to get better, and, like tutorials and mechanics. And I was like, okay, so I'm not going to watch a couple YouTube videos and like be really sweet at this anymore. So, but Rocket League is what introduced me to the Dad Gaming, which was the predecessor. For me, I know they're not numbers necessarily directly linked with C3, but that's how I got here. And the Dad Gaming, was such a glorious find for me. At the time I had I had a son, and just like when I found Rocket League, it was already been out for some years, so it was like COVID time, and got into it. And I'd always kind of like, I'm I'm not a big fan of like toxic gaming, or like even like I can do some mild trash talk, but like I don't really love super hard trash talk. So getting into the Dad Gaming, where it was like such a positive community, where it was like just as much about gaming as it was about dadding. And and I just loved that. I loved the everything about it. And at the time I was playing on Xbox, and they, pretty much everybody that I played with was like, oh man, you got to get a PC if you really want to, like get good and play. And so I will tell you guys what, I built a PC for the first time my whole life. Um, it became like a somewhat obsession slash hobby thing that turned my life, upside down for a while. And then I also discovered that I really like computers, and so it just turned into this whole journey where I like completely switched careers and got into IT. And so I tell my wife all the time that like Rocket League changed my whole life, and really like changed our whole lives around us, because everything is better now. And it really, if you boil it down to, it's because of Rocket League at a base level. So
This is a new story right here. I played a video
yeah.
game. I played a video game and leveled up my career. That's
Yep.
what
Yep.
happened here.
Made that played a video game that made him build a PC,
Made him build
so
a
he
PC.
leveled up his career.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yep. So, yep, that's and I won't pretend that I ever really got super good at it. My like peak was, somewhere in like mid diamond area. And then so the switch to IT thing, like, I mean, was like, I was a house painter, and so getting into IT was like, I got to study and take a bunch of certifications. So I put it down for like a year or two while I did the switch. And that was a couple years ago. I've been in IT now for a couple years. I still will now, like, I'll play from time to time, but I have a 4-year-old, and so I don't have as much time anymore. And I quickly learned that, like, yeah, I'm not gonna be I probably will never, or I probably will never hit grand champion. So I'll still play from time to time. I'm gonna actually like I think I'm gonna play tomorrow in the big tournament. It's been a while. Actually about a month ago, or maybe about 2 months ago, I was watching a YouTube video, and they was talking about like your key bindings and how what buttons you use. And so I have, after like I'm going to say 1,000 hours. I don't really know how many I've put into Rocket League. I've started working on a new key binding, which if you've ever done that with a game that you've played like a million times is really, really hard to do. It's,
Ray
the
does
only
it
reason
every
that
week when he plays Fortnite, so I don't know what made it sound so
I've
different.
changed so many things.
Oh, well, yeah, yeah, for me, like when you've played something the same way and a certain button,
Oh yeah.
does something to try to change it. The only reason that I would even try it is like because I don't play it as much anymore. So I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I'll give it a go of like I don't care as much about I don't care at all about my rank
Yeah.
anymore or anything like that. So like, all right, let me just try to learn this. And maybe it is something that like reignites more and deeper run, but it's the claw technique, which I don't know. I've never played any game like that, and it is really weird. But people that play it, they swear by it, so I'm trying
I
it. So
I love a good claw. I love having all the stuff. So you're on PC, but are you playing on Xbox controller still, or is it a PlayStation controller?
I play an Xbox controller.
Okay.
I love the Xbox controller. It's funny, like I didn't own the original Xbox, so the first Xbox that I had was the Xbox 360,
Love it.
and yeah, I've never looked back. Like
Hmm.
Xbox 360 to Xbox One. Well, I never went to Series X because I had the PC, but
Yep.
yeah, the controller. I'm not one to like throw shade at other controllers. Like place whatever you use is great, but I personally love the Xbox controller. So it feels comfortable in my hands and it's grown well from the
Yeah.
360 to what they have now. I
I
think it's yeah just gone really well. It's been a good
completely agree. Did you turn on Rocket League like before tomorrow comes, or is you just gonna turn it on tomorrow and go for it?
no, yeah, like so part of the the motivation to switch my career was not just like because I loved computers from building one. It was also like maybe I can get me one of these work at home things.
Hmm.
And so I work at home, and so like I won't pretend that I work all day every day. So and Rocket League's great for that. That's one of the
Yeah.
reasons I really love it is because like I can play a literal whole game in 5 minutes.
Yep.
Which is incredible. It's also a similar thing of like why I love the Nintendo Switch so much. Because I can put it down at any moment, like literally any minute. And for having a newborn, Nintendo Switch is just there's nothing. I mean,
Ray,
they do have some stuff now
Ha-
that's like it, but
ju-
not much.
just see
Handheld
Ray
gaming has
strapping his
changed.
Ray strapping his
changed so
kid to
much.
his chest earlier playing handheld.
I saw the hospital pic with you.
Yeah, I would say handheld gaming has changed, has made things so much better.
Ray, I'm sorry to do
Yeah.
it. I was tempted to drop the George Carlin. It's a kid, not camping equipment. Touch the little bleeper, and but I admired too much. You were just handling it so well. I had to respect it.
That's funny. I normally don't have the baby holder thing. It just never was used, and I put it on today, and this one's all
Yeah.
about it. I literally got my other son, got my 4-year-old here. Come take a picture of me. He's like, yes, because he loves taking pictures. I was like, you gotta take a picture right now because this is excellent. As my wife panics,
Right.
she's like, you need to hold him while he's being held.
That's what Holder does.
Right. Oh man. So Rocket League is still just Rocket League. There was never a Rocket League 2. Feels this kind of it's just still there.
Yeah. There was like rumors
They
for for a while, and the method of continuing to like because they do release updates and the joke is always like when you go for a tournament and you're like, oh god, there's like 100 gigabyte update or whatever, and I'll see you guys at the next tournament
Mhm.
because but yeah, they've never come out with a 2, and I'm not really when I hear the rumors, I'm like, what else are they gonna do?
That's what I always wondered. I feel like it's such a unique game. I don't know what you could change that would be so drastic that you'd have
You
to
need it
call it
too.
a new game, right?
Uh,
So yeah, no Rocket League 2, and Dan, definitely no Rocket League 3, right? As we head on to the next game.
Indeed,
we could
yeah.
just call it Rocket League 3.
Rocket League C3. We'll just go with that because
There we
the
go.
jokes have been leading up, as I've mentioned earlier, to The Witcher 3, the Wild Hunt. But we missed out on not having Rocket League 3 in here. There goes that.
Yep.
Again, not often I pre-rated joke, but I had that one ready to go, and Jay Parton was on there and just and he took it. I respect it.
Known as The Witcher 6 in Japan.
Is it? Oh, you got me there.
He didn't pre-write that one.
No, he did. That was well done by him. God, that was even better. It's funny because the only reason is because like my second thing I thought about is like, did anybody outside of Europe play the first two games? I don't know. I had no idea how this series existed. I found one guy who had a PC copy. Actually, the other day, ironically enough, he was selling it at the game store. I was like, oh my God, somebody did play this game. They had a plastic DVD case for The Witcher. I have it now on. Wow. I haven't cracked it yet. I got it in like a Steam bundle at some point for $1, but so you were not one of the, like, did you read the books? Because only like my nerdiest of nerd friends even claim to have read the books. Like they're like, okay, 1% of 1% of nerds.
All right. Well, I am in that 1%, 1% of nerds, but I've read the books since playing the game. I did not read the books prior to playing the game. But I am a pretty avid reader, but it's mostly fantasy already. So it's like, to me, it's like watching TV. So yeah, I have since read the books, but not before.
So my question then, like, how did you wander into this? Because there's like, this game has had 3 generations, much like Skyrim and Grand Theft Auto 5. That like,
yeah,
this game has just been around in iterations and has had its expansions, and also has been on sale for 100 times, like for $5 at different points. So it feels like everybody's just like, well, I can't not pick this up for $5, you know, and had a pretty decent, even on the Switch 1, had a pretty decent port onto the Switch 1. Let me be clear. Don't come at me, Switch 1 haters, but they had a pretty decent port. So where did you come in, though, in the history of this game, and how did this come into your life?
Gosh, you know what? I'm not even going to worry about when it was, because I can't think about that, except how it came about was I had played Skyrim on the Xbox 360, and I had beat the main storyline and beat like 90% of like all the different quests, which Skyrim was a great game. I loved it. And then I like got an Xbox One, and I don't remember all the details, but for whatever reason, like save files couldn't be like, we're spoiled now where like cloud saves and stuff that you can just pick it up. It's attached with your username, but for some reason, whatever with Xbox 360, I could not take my save file for Skyrim to my Xbox One. And so the idea of starting Skyrim over was like, I can't do that. I was like I'd played like hundreds of hours of Skyrim. And so I started looking for a game like that. And I don't know if it was just online reviews or like someone in the store, but they were like, hey, if you really like Skyrim, you might really like The Witcher 3. And
Psst, hey kid,
long
check
story
this
short,
out.
I got it.
You like your high fantasy? Check this out, kid. This one's got. I'm not going to say what it's got. This one, it's like Skyrim with. Never mind.
It was. I started playing it, and I immediately was like, "This is a hot take, but this might be better than Skyrim." Not
not
quite
a hot
as
take, but go off. Like,
not,
you're not wrong.
Not quite as expansive, but for me, like I've heard many things of like sometimes some knocking of the combat system, but for me, the combat system was way smoother and more intuitive than in Skyrim. For me, it's the two-handed thing in Skyrim is not as I just like I felt more comfortable playing The Witcher 3 and with their combat. I will say though, like there was lots and lots and lots of rolling while you play that game, like just kind of like rolling around, uh, through the battles. But yeah, that game was just
And the bathtub.
it was incredible, and I played it for I won't even tell you how long it took me to. Well, I will tell you, but I'm a little embarrassed. That's what I was gonna say. I'm a little embarrassed how long it probably took me like 3 years, fully like beat that game because I would just play it, you know, when I had some spare time. And like sometimes if you haven't played a game in like a week, you're spending your first half hour just like remembering where you were and you can just roam. You can roam and there's so much to the game and so many different areas to explore. Yeah, it probably was around 3 years, and it was funny because I had it and it was on Xbox, so before I switched to, like, PC, which PC is, like, in the office, but the Xbox was, like, on the TV in the living room, and so I would have to play it, and my, wife would watch me, and it was the first game where she was like, "That game is pretty sweet, and I actually enjoy watching you play it," and she's not a gamer, and so that was like, "Okay, well, good, because I like to play video games, and if you are at least like enjoying part of it, then that makes it more likely that I can play some more on the TV." And yeah, so I played a lot.
How much of your wife's time has been spent watching Gwent?
You know, it's I don't think she watched too much Gwent. And I didn't play like in the beginning, like of the game. I was probably like literally halfway through the game before I ever played any more games of Gwent than like what you had to play if there was any quests or whatever that you had to play it. I didn't play it. But then when I did start to play it there was definitely like months of where I advanced nothing in the storyline other than I went around playing Gwent.
Yeah, I'd say
And
for anyone who doesn't know, that's the card game within a game of The Witcher. Like so much a legendary game, they actually broke it out into its own separate release and released a Gwent game.
it was pretty awesome once I got into it. But I had missed there was a quest in like the beginning of the game to like max out your deck, and if you didn't do it, then there was you couldn't redo it, and so I missed out on like some special card. I don't remember what it was, but because in the beginning I was like, I want nothing to do with this card game inside my hack and slash, Witcher 3 game.
Card games are for nerds in this nerd game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm better than this. So I'm gonna wrap up and ask. So now that you've have you done the Netflix show as well? I mean, we're only gonna talk Cavill era. We're not gonna talk Hemsworth era.
Yes, and that's exactly. I have seen all the Cavill episodes, and we watched. My wife and I. She loved the show too. So we did watch the show together, and we watched like I think about 8 minutes of the newest one, and we're just like, I'm not saying I'll never watch it, but I'm not into it enough to watch it right now.
It's a different frequency.
Yeah, and having read all the books, also like they just get weirder as they go. To be honest, and so like I was like, I already know it's going to be kind of weird, and now Cavill's gone, so like I'm not as all about like we're gonna watch this every week, and so I haven't gone back to it. But
So of the three, you've got the books, you got the movie, you got the game. What's your most enjoyed medium of the three?
oh, hands down the game. Like the game, I mean, the game's a masterpiece, and it translates so well to video game. Like I would say I enjoyed reading it, but the reading is very disjointed. It's written, it was written in like I think it's Polish was the original language,
Yep.
and so there's some of that. There's some of the fact that it was translated, and then there's some of it like I think he just kind of likes to write weirdly. So it's can be hard to follow and different time jumps and stuff. The show was great. Um, but I think from having invested 3 years of my life into playing The Witcher 3, like that's the iteration that, like so seeing some of the characters in the show that look different from the characters that are in the game, like the characters in the game are the ones that I associate with The Witcher. Even though like not everything is like quote unquote like canon that happens in the game, but uh that's the long answer to say the game.
All right, let's head to the honorable mentions. You've kind of mentioned FIFA in passing a couple times here, but you also said you didn't play a lot of online. Was there a lot of offline FIFA happening?
There was a lot of offline FIFA that happened, and so I'll tell this story. So like um we had like I think it was New Year's Eve, like of the year that I was going to graduate high school, which was around 2002. So you guys can do my age, old. And I'm at a party, and there's a group of guys like playing FIFA. And up until then, like I didn't really play soccer growing up. Football and basketball were a lot, around a lot. Soccer really in America, like I'm sure that there was people that played, but like it wasn't for me. And so I'm 18. I finally start playing this FIFA soccer game at this New Year's Eve party. And I was like, well, that was a blast. And that was all like, I think it was only 2-player, but I can't remember for sure. But just you were playing tournaments like and stuff. And then the World Cup was that summer 2002. So I graduated high school. I got the FIFA game. I started watching the soccer with like buddies. We were 18, but we started drinking too, and then I was working at this bar, and we started actually like playing pickup soccer, like showing up in like Converse All Stars and playing soccer. And now like I'm a huge soccer fan. I'm actually just realized I'm wearing a soccer shirt today. And like I wish that I would have played when I was younger, but I waited till I was older to get into soccer. But FIFA introduced me to soccer, and it also made so like when I would watch these games, like I knew the rules, I knew the players, and it's all through the video game. And I played why I said like I can't pick one because I played many iterations. I think that one was 2001 that I played first, but like probably FIFA 06 and 08 I played a lot. And over the years, like the last one I owned was 24, and it changed to FC.
I was gonna FIFA.
24.
FIFA is a retro game now, right?
But like it's the same. They would change things, and the controls. It would take you like a week to like relearn the controls. Because like they would modify something slightly, like how the pressure that you press on the shoot button or like the angle. But they've done a masterful job through the years. I don't play them as much anymore. One, because like my time is more finite, and so I'm a big Manchester United fan. That's what like where the soccer journey led me. And so like I watch soccer, and so I don't play as much of the video game anymore, especially once like Rocket League came around.
Right.
I hesitated to like put Rocket League and FIFA like in the same podcast episode because of the similarities, like, but they're different enough, and it was impactful enough, like it there's aspects of my life that are changed from playing FIFA, just kind of like Rocket League. Actually had like meaningful impacts in my life.
Did it ever become an online game?
Yes, I mean I've played some online, but more than online was like I would have like like at the time when I was playing it the most was like young 20s, and so there would be parties and like challenging groups of friends would come over, and like, all right, everybody's gonna play, and we would like do our own tournaments, not like anything big, probably under 10 people, but like enough to where it's like a few different rounds of playing, and I, was always the best. But yeah, online didn't. I played a little bit online, and I would do okay, but then you would just run into somebody that just, it was like you'd run into Pele,
Mhm.
and so, uh, yeah, I didn't do too much online gaming, but that was where I got where the gamer tag thing came in, because I had to make a gamer tag, or they gave me a gamer tag, that was some ridiculous thing, which is where jparton84 ended up coming along. But
Predictions for the World Cup this summer.
ooh,
We'll go with this. Does USA make it out of group stage?
you know what? It's been a minute since I've looked at their group, but I'm gonna say no.
So we got Paraguay, Australia, Turkey.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
That
no.
it?
Yeah, because that's a four team, and
Yeah.
that is a winnable group, and so I won't be like, oh my god, I'm
Australia.
shocked if they
Mhm.
win out of that group, but like they just don't. There's just something missing, and it's like I don't watch a ton of U.S. soccer,
Mhm.
and it's hard for me to, like maybe a soccer coach could differentiate a lot between what I'm seeing, but like there's just a different feeling watching European, or I do watch a little South American, but mainly
Mhm.
European soccer. Like I can't tell exactly what it is, but you notice, and even like somebody casual, like if you put an MLS game and you put a Premier League game on, somebody that knew nothing about soccer, I think would look and be like, yeah, those guys are better. And I don't know if it's hard to measure,
Mhm.
exactly what it is, but
Sure.
um, their hopes are all on Pulisic. Like if
Yeah.
he's, if he comes back and starts playing, because he was like injured for a while, I think. If he comes back and starts playing well, then they might have a chance to like. They're not going to win for sure. I would bet my house on that.
Let's talk.
So I guess I'll say England. Like, England has been knocking at the
Okay.
door for a while, and they want it, and that's what I watch the most. So I don't know that I would bet on it, but I'll just, for sake of the podcast, I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna go England is gonna finally get it done.
You heard it here first, everybody.
Much like we couldn't condone the underage drinking in the earlier portion of this, we can't condone the gambling in this part either. But anyway, speaking of underage drinking,
all
let's
right.
talk about your second honorable mention here with Mario Odyssey. I'm just kidding. I don't know how that tied together. I had no transition there, but Mario's full formal 3D entry. I'm not counting 3D World and Bowser's Fury, but the full formal 3D entry on the Switch.
Yes. So this was this came very close to making the top three, and not for the amount of time that I played into it, but just it was one, I started playing this game right like when my daughter was born, so kind of like the newborn, like Switch era. I'm able to play for a few minutes. I'm not gonna play. I'm not gonna play like The Witcher 3 while
Mhm. Yep.
while I'm holding my daughter, or Grand Theft Auto.
Look, honey, watch him swing
So
his sword and then watch him swing his sword.
and so and it was really like one of the I don't remember if it was exactly the first, but amongst the first like Switch games that I was really playing, and it was
Yeah, it was like
it
the second and a half Switch game because it went like Zelda, Mario Kart 8, which was a half a game I call it, and then this was the second big formal release. That makes
yeah.
sense.
Well, it took me probably 3 years to get a Switch. I've still have not gotten the Switch 2. Like there's been, it's like I've had a couple times where I've had the money in my pocket, and I've just been like, I don't play enough. I don't play enough as much as
Yeah.
I would love to, to do it. But I'm hopeful soon that I'm gonna actually just like take the plunge, because it's the same thing with the Switch. I put it off for years and years, like money is a consideration, but I look back and I'm like, I I've gotten my money out of the Switch for sure. But yeah, anyway, back to the Mario Odyssey, playing it. My daughter just being born, so it's like she's, napping, but also up, and like, so you got to be able to like put it down in a minute. But the controls were incredible. The levels were just like incredibly designed. I listened to Nomad's description of his experience with Mario Odyssey on his podcast and was like, that was like literally the same thing. Like I didn't do it for years, and then I played, and I had also kind of like not really played a Mario game since Mario 64. So now kind of looking back, like after I had this amazing experience of playing Odyssey and like going back and like I've checked out 3D World and checked out Galaxy. I'm like, okay, so it wasn't maybe quite as like this big giant leap as I realized, or as I experienced it from not having played a Mario game basically since 64. But that was my experience when I played it. It was just like, oh my God, this is like a whole different world. And yeah, that also a masterpiece, just a masterpiece of a game. And it got me back into like platforming. Like, I'd gotten away from that for years and was like, all right, at this era of my like dad life, like I kind of like beating a level as opposed to like a game like The Witcher where it's like I could play this for 3 years and like not even touch the storyline, or like I could play Gwent for 6 weeks, whereas like Mario, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna like play and beat a level, and that's an achievable goal for me. So yeah, Odyssey was amazing.
Yeah, you could
And
bang
just
out a couple power moons and just keep going. Like you don't have to worry
yeah,
about like there's no guilt
yep,
to it because you could also just put it in a save state and like it just shut off the screen and pick it back up later. It's like nothing happened.
yep. And there was generous, saves, or generous checkpoints. It was like it, it was just challenging enough to like not be like, oh yeah, it's just like I can cakewalk through everything, but it wasn't like super hard. I'm not like the greatest gamer. I don't, I tend to do things on like the normal difficulty. I don't go hard. I just want to like have a good time. But it got me back into some platformers. I got at Mega Man 11 after that, and like went back with some old school stuff, and which I think I heard that there's a new Mega Man in the
Next
Next
works,
year.
year.
and like
Yeah.
Next year.
like that's super exciting, as is like whenever they do get around to the next Mario, because I think I saw something that Odyssey was 10 years ago.
Also next year.
And so like, yeah, when the new like that's, if I don't have the Switch 2 by then, like it'll happen then for sure. So
That'll make sure you're there.
That'll be the one.
yes.
All right, last one. I'm gonna mention you got Fortnite on the list.
So Fortnite has been a recent.
Okay.
I know Fortnite's been around a long time, but I have always been, not always, but basically always been opposed to first-person shooters because I'm terrible at them. Back in like high school or like slightly after high school, I had some buddies I would hang out with all the time, and they would play. I don't remember if it was GoldenEye, whatever the GameCube James Bond was. I don't remember which one was on the GameCube, but there was a James Bond. We would play that all the time, and like they would just mop the floors with me. I would end up like any of the games
Legendary
were.
Nightfire for Ray and his group, right? It was Nightfire.
Yeah, that would be Nightfire. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't actually know what that means, but probably, yeah.
The Bond game you got smoked in. There you go.
Yeah. So, but yeah, just like, any kind of those first person shooter games, Call of Duty, stuff like that, like I always had a hard time with the two different sticks, like moving around. And so I'd end up like, I can't even find where I'm going. But so my son has gotten, over the last year or so, like super into Fortnite, plays it all the time. And that's like his number one game and basically only game. And so actually, this is a C3 shout out, and I think it was even at the convention talking to Joel. He said something like, "Hey, my kids are into Fortnite, and so I'm going to get into that because one, right, like we want them to do what we like to do, but how much better is it to do like what they like to do, and then that gives us an opportunity to connect more with
Right.
them, and maybe in a way that is different than it would be in any other situation. Like they might open up more and talk about more things because they're feeling in a comfortable. So it's not all I don't want to sound like it's manipulation, but it's like I took it as like, yeah, like instead of like wishing that he would play more Rocket League with me, how about I play Fortnite with him? And so I've taken it upon it, and I actually found out that like whatever change has happened since I've gotten older, like I don't find myself walking into corners and not unable to get out of them as much. I won't pretend that I'm good, but I just posted like last week I got my first battle royale win, and so
That's
it
right.
entered the list because it's like this was a game that I've avoided for years and would have avoided forever, except for my son and wanting to like connect in that way, and that 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 was important enough for me to take on something that was outside of my comfort zone, and his like I like it now. And then I literally started playing it and getting good, and I watched some YouTube video came up my feed that was like Fortnite's dead. And then they laid off like 1,000 people, and I was like, yep, that would be like I start playing it, and it's all downhill from there.
To be fair, it is like the 7th time Fortnite's died, probably according to the internet. So
Fortnite dies all the time.
Yeah,
Okay,
It's always
see?
dead.
I'm new, so yep, thanks.
It's millions and millions of daily players.
Tell me
when they-
what that moron Asmongold thinks about it too. Go ahead, give me that clickbait article too. See if I care.
When they said Epic laid off 1,000 people, honestly, my first thought was like, good God, they had enough people that they could lay off 1,000 and still like
and everything's still running.
like I was like, I guess I don't know that I've ever thought it through of how many people Epic like does actually employ.
Yeah.
Because you got to keep in mind, like they're the second PC game storefront too. They're the Unreal Engine. Like it's not just Fortnite. Like there's an entire empire behind the scenes that like Fortnite is one facet of. Like
yes,
Unreal Engine powers like half of the games released or something. Like there's some obnoxious stat about exactly how many games are powered by Unreal Engine. It's insane. So what's shocking is like, okay, they still had to fire 1,000 people, and like Steam may have the mass share of the storefront market, but like Unreal has the engine market. So I don't know. But let's talk future games on that note. Since Fortnite's dead, you're gonna have something else you're gonna have to play here, and I don't think you sent us one, so I wanted to kind of find out live if there's a game you're looking forward to.
We talked about Mario a little bit, which isn't until next year. So I guess I'll go with the game, and I probably won't buy it day one, but I'll get it pretty quickly after. Will be the new Grand Theft Auto. Like I'm not, they're great games. Like when I've played Grand Theft Auto 5 and beat that, I had beaten like 3 and I think Vice City. I don't know that I played all of them. Like I don't think I ever played San Andreas or any of that, but like I'll probably end up getting Grand Theft Auto 6. There's nothing like, where I'm already talking about underage drinking and all this stuff. So like nothing like, stealing a car and shooting a couple people. And I won't play it when my daughter's around though.
Will we see it in 2026?
I was like bold of you to think it's coming out this year.
Gosh, I thought that was pretty set, but my ear is not to the ground as like it used to be, but I thought that they said nothing's for sure, but
they told us for sure last year too.
Did they?
'cause-
Did they?
Oh,
they
yeah.
did. They did. That's
There was a release date.
They did have to release a formal
Yeah.
announcement. It was
And
going to be.
I said it. I was like, that's not
Well,
coming
no,
out.
I don't know if they ever said 2025, but they did announce when they said we're doing 2026. I know that. But I don't know.
There's a date. Right now, there's a date.
Is it going to happen, jparton? That's the question.
Yeah.
jparton84.
You know, I'll say it's going to happen because they're gonna get in for Christmas and get the Christmas rush in, but I probably won't get it then because I just my backlog is enormous, and that's been part of the Switch 2 thing too. Is like I got 8 games still to play on the Switch, and yes, I could get the new Donkey Kong or something, but that just pushes something else down the list. We talked about Epic. Epic has given me 30 PC games that I have.
Rookie numbers.
I
You
bought
don't
one
cash them
thing
in.
from
There's
Epic.
400 I've got in there. Forget 30. It's
Yeah. Well, because I only will download ones that I think I might play, but
me
that
too.
the backlog just on Epic is 30. So yeah, there's just and that's a thing with all media right now, streaming. I just got rid of I had every streaming service that you could have, and I'm like, I don't even watch any of these.
no.
So now
Pick
I'm
them up as you
back
need
to
them. That's all. Yeah.
right now I'm back to we hooked up a DVD player, and we're let's go back to
So did I.
let's go back because I can't have 8 streaming services when my daughter just wants to watch Frozen 1,000 times.
He just bought an old Redbox unit just to have it in the house for the vibes.
Yeah, we went got the Blu-ray player, and we started going back to the library and just renting DVDs. Yep.
And they still get they still get new stuff in too.
Oh yeah.
And this is a plug for public libraries, games. You
Yes,
can
they
go
do.
and they rent games now, and that's an incredible thing that I love. I think just recently I've been going and I get the Kirby game. That's the one that I started playing Kirby on the Switch, the Forgotten Land, and I got it from the library, and I'm just gonna check it out and beat it slowly over time because every 2 weeks I got to bring it back.
Yeah. All right, well, let's take a question from the Channel 3 history books we picked for you to discuss. This was not a series that came up for you, but I posted earlier today that CinemaCon is taking place right now, where movie exhibitors, like the people who own the theaters, are going to Vegas, and what's happening now is the movie studios are showing them promotional materials for movies coming up over the next year plus. Sony presents tonight, which means, first of all, Zach Krager's Resident Evil will be in there, but that's not my question for you. My question for you is about their other big presentation. They're also covering Miles Morales and the Spider-Verse, but the big one we're talking about today is the Zelda movie. And the question that we had for the quest of the day for today, will Link talk in the Zelda movie?
I mean, I have to say yes. I can't imagine them doing a movie where the main character doesn't talk the whole movie. And I was trying to remember, I answered the quest today, and I was like, I'll have to go back to Breath of the Wild or one of these other games and just plug it in. Well, I have Tears of the Kingdom, so I can check it out. But when the other characters talk to him, they
react to sentences.
They react to his words. So yeah, I think they'll keep it to a minimum. I don't think that he'll have the 30-minute monologue. But yeah, I believe will talk.
Yeah, to be clear, just go back to Nicolas Cage and Willy's Wonderland or whatever it was called. That was his Five Nights at Freddy's, where he didn't talk for 90 minutes. He just beat up animatronic robots in an R-rated movie. It can be done, but I think I just from the vibes of the 3 pictures they've given us, I could see Link just kind of being stoic and quiet and but he'll have to say something,
Yeah, he'll say yes.
Oh yeah. That's all I'll say is Sony. Yeah. So if Sony doesn't make $1 billion with this movie, they could be in trouble. Illumination Studios can be pissed.
Yeah.
that they did. I saw a thing that they put Star Fox in the game just so another studio doesn't take another IP away from them because they want to just kind of run and own the whole thing too.
That makes sense. And yeah, like after the Mario movies, and I can't remember if there was a quest, but there probably was one like, is there a video game movie that you would really look forward to after the Mario movie? And like Zelda would be the instant answer. And like lo and behold, they're making one. So
And
yeah,
in
that's exciting.
New
It is
Zealand,
exciting.
doing it for real. That's the important part.
Oh man, yeah, it's exciting. Because you know there was no Zelda games on my list, and that was not out of respect. It was more just that you know lots of they've been on. I listened to some of the past few, and I know that they appear often. We talk lots about Zelda, and Breath of the Wild was amazing. And Tears of the Kingdom has stalled for me, and it stalled even right in the beginning because of the similarities to Breath of the Wild. Just for me as a gamer, like time is important, and I was like, okay, so like I'm not sure that I really want to do this a very similar game that's just 3 times bigger for me. But I still own it, and I still like that's what I'll play from time to time when I'm like, oh, I'm not sure what I'm going to play today. Like, oh, I'll jump in and like play a couple shrines in Tears of the Kingdom because it is just a well done game, and so the movie should be. Yeah, you're right. If they screw it up, they're like, shame on them because there should be no way they could screw it up.
Final question: what's been your favorite feature on Channel 3?
So I knew this one was coming, still not prepared, but I will say I'll give you, a two-part answer. First, my biggest regret with C3 is I was like with the original, like, Joel had sent a referral before C3 was even like fully, I think beta or whatever, to the Dad Gaming stuff. And I got in there and, and I wish that I would have like actually actively participated from then until now. But it's been periodic over the years, and only the last like probably 3 or 4 months or so where I really got more active and like daily active on the platform. So that's my biggest regret. And then, I think the feature that I like the most is very similar to the same thing with the Dad Gaming. It's just like the vibes are so different here than most other video game related communities that I've ever seen or been a part of. It's like there's an air of wholesomeness that like just doesn't exist in any other type of community. And so I'm going to give the cheesy answer of like, it's the people that are involved. So you guys, Joel, you, Dan, and Ray, like, you really have fostered a community that like, yeah, like I don't hate it here. So that's great. So
Put that on a t-shirt. Channel 3. I don't hate it here.
yeah.
That's that'll be it.
Don't threaten me. I'll have that. I'm working on trying to build up some merch for the shop to do a whole drop with the backpack. So maybe,
I like it. I'd get a shirt. I would get a shirt that says that. Channel 3. I don't hate it here.
It was like, stuff that like, I'm embarrassed to say that like, pressing some buttons of like likes and one-ups and daily XP that like in the beginning was like, I don't even know if I can figure this out. And a theme for me with gaming often is time. Like, my time is limited. And so, yeah, I wish that I would have taken the time to like get more in, because then I would have had lots more time with you all. But the convention last year was awesome, and I am really looking forward to the next one coming up here in a few months. My son and I are going to come down, and we got to say come down because we're in Detroit, so it's not super far. Although I never thought I'd vacation in Ohio. So
most astronauts in the country have come from Ohio. That's how far they want to get away from there. That's all I continually remind people of. And here we are going into it.
Yep.
And with that, we've made it to the end of another What Are Your Three. Thank you, Jay Parton, for being with us. You can find the podcast at c3.gg/podcast, dropping every Wednesday morning at 3:33 a.m. Eastern on all the major platforms, including Spotify, YouTube Music, and Apple Podcasts. I'm Ray. Dan puts this all together. Our theme song is by Caster Garden. And for our executive producer, Joel Willis, have a good day, everybody.
Channel 3 is the future.